Hi, my name is Brittany Janice. I'm a student at Worthing College, and today I'll be teaching you an art technique that I learned in A-level fine art. So today's going to be a voiceover, and I'm going to be teaching you an effective way to transfer your art onto another piece of paper. I will also demonstrate fun ways you can use color with this technique as well. So you will need your design, another piece of paper, the one that you're going to transfer your work onto, graphite pencil, a pencil, or a ballpoint pen. So firstly, you turn over your design and then take your graphite pencil and make a huge mark all over it, covering the whole surface of the design. Make sure it's full and shade as much as you can. After you shaded the back of your design, place the paper you wanted underneath your design. Make sure they line up properly so your tracing is accurate. You can either use a ballpoint pen or the pencil, anything that's kind of sharp but blunt, but make sure if you're using the pen that the pen isn't on so you don't make a mark on your design, unless you want to make the mark on your design. Using the ballpoint pen or pencil, start by outlining/tracing your design and make sure you press quite hard. This is so it can seep through the graphite on the other side of the paper. And when you take it off, you should see a brief outline of the design. If you don't have a graphite stick, charcoal can be an alternative. It's just a bit messier. And you can also use just a regular pencil. You just have to add a bit more pressure onto it when you're making the mark on the surface of the design. So that was one way you can transfer art onto another piece of paper. But now I'll show you ways you can manipulate color with this technique as well. You will need soft pastels, but if you don't have soft pastels, crayons could work as well, as long as you have the colors you want. You still need the ballpoint pen and you'll still need the pencil as well. With the soft pastels, I'm going to be choosing colors that relate to my design, and then I'm going to be blocking shapes with the colors, making sure the mark is full, similar to how we made the mark on the back of the surface of design with the graphite. So I just chose the basic overall colors that reflect my design the most. Similar to what we did before, place the paper underneath your design and start tracing your design. This time I'm using the pencil rather than the ballpoint pen. In my opinion, I prefer using the pencil because it's much more accurate than the ballpoint pen. I prefer messy lines, but if you like to be clean, make sure your lines are precise because the soft pastels will pick up every mark you make. The pigment is a bit low, so make sure you press a bit harder, or make sure your soft pastels has a fuller mark. Here's a clear example of how this technique works. I just started blocking with the orange pastel, and then I went over to the other side and just drew some designs. I kind of leaned too hard onto the pastel, so it made excess dust. So make sure when you're tracing just to have your arm a bit higher than the design. I hope you use these two techniques in the future. It's really efficient when you just don't want to recreate your drawing again by hand. So here's the finishing products. I actually learned this while doing a cubism workshop, and we use this quite a lot when we were doing the juddering effect to create the cubist kind of style. If you want to make something like this, basically I traced over the design and did them quickly and overlapping each other after a couple of seconds, while also changing the angles and the shapes of them. So those are my two techniques that I learned that you can use when you want to transfer your artwork onto another piece of paper or use color more excitingly. I hope you learned something or found this helpful. Go make some great art.